Hi guys. Okay, so our tradition is to speak in English, hopefully for visitors and people that are English speakers. We're also streaming the event live on YouTube. And this is our 7th meetup, so it's already I think more than a year old when we started the group, and it grew, as you can see around you. I see many new faces here. So I'm happy that you came, thank you, and thank for our talkers that are here to share their experience with us. I will speak only a few minutes just to kind of administrative and a little bit about the state of the industry. I'm Omri, by the way, so maybe I should start by, oh no, yeah, talking about the agenda. So we'll start with a few welcomes and thank yous. I will give a very short industry briefing about augmented reality, what happened recently, and then we have a full agenda full of interesting talks. The first one will be Ari, and I will introduce him in a short while. Okay, so let's start on. We are Recite. I'm Omri, Eran is here also, and we are organizing this. We are ourselves a startup for augmented reality. If somebody is interested, you can come and talk to us later. Also helping us with the organization is Andrea Vir from the New Capital. She is not here, she is helping us from afar this time, from New York. And without further ado, I want to thank Michal. Thank you for the pizzas, for the beer, for the place. Do you want to give a talk to them?
Yes. Hi. My name is Michal. I'm Microsoft. Thank you for coming today. You're staying here at the startup venue for Microsoft. Startup is also giving free consulting for startups in several of the issues like tech issues, compliance, and also biz dev. So if somebody wants free consulting, you can just enter our website, startup.co.il, and I will take you through there and help you, assist you, whatever you need. And also, we are hosting, let's say, those events. So if somebody wants to take an event here or want to have some questions, I'm here and I'm more happy to assist you all. So enjoy, and thank you all for coming, and have a great evening.
And today we have another organization to thank, KWE, that will also speak shortly. And I think they offered the group, the people that are physically here, and we know that most of you are developers or startupists, and you don't have a lot of money, so to help you out, they offered awesome discounts, and Oren will talk more about that. And I think it's really cool that the global community is connecting to the local community, and we are working to be more integrated with AWE and with the global community. So in a short while, Oren will talk about that. And just a short talk about what is going on now in augmented reality. So first of all, maybe you heard in the last week that Facebook renamed its camera effort platform to Spark AR, and they started a cooperation with Sketchfab. I think that for people that develop for augmented reality, it's a kind of a big deal, because this is the biggest platform where you can reach actual users. And it shows how Facebook look at that as a strategic investment, and how much effort they put into making that into a reality. For people that know or follow Meta, which was founded by an Israeli guy that are doing also smart glasses, where they secured funding for Chinese investors, and it fell through because of the trade wars that started with Trump administration. So too bad for them, but it shows also something bigger about the climate for funding for augmented reality startups. And just there's a few articles about that, but the short line is that the investments in the United States for augmented reality in the last few quarters is dropping sharply. But on the other side, Chinese investors investment just grew exponentially over the last few quarters. So if you are looking for investment, maybe this is where you should look for. I think it's interesting. If you are following Magic Leap, that we'll have Aria talk about in a short while, how to develop or his experience with the glasses. They showed, one of the first games they showed is something like Angry Birds, but for smart glasses. I can show a short video, but maybe I'll spare you that. Snap showed a button to purchase things on Amazon. So you just look through the camera, it recognizes the object, you can press the button, and you can buy it online. So if you think about, well, filters, augmented reality filters are going, or how to monetize your applications, that seems like a good idea. Firefox, they had a browser in beta for a few months now. People that are doing WebXR probably heard about that, and Google also has a beta version, but now Firefox came out of beta, and actually it's available widely, and it supports augmented reality through the web browser. So the future of this kind of platforms. Oculus Quest, I think it's worth mentioning. Of course, it came out with 60 OF inside-out tracking, which is becoming a standard, much like ARKit and ARCore. Basically, it means that the device knows where it is in space, just using the cameras and maybe a few other sensors, but usually just a camera. And I think also, if you think about Facebook with Oculus and the other things that they are building, like the Spark AR, I see a trend going here that maybe we are not interested only in VR, but also in AR, and how these things can converge in the end. And just worth mention is Texel. I think we don't have that many AR and VR startups yet, or not enough, never enough. But when one startup can manage to raise a nice A round, I think it's worth applauding for. So actually, I will finish by saying that this is just maybe a snapshot of news from the last 2 weeks. And basically, we haven't met for 3 months. The last meetup was 3 months ago, and the reason was that I was abroad. I went to the AWE abroad, and I went to, because of my own business, to meet with a few people and companies, and then the holidays and so on. So it's been 3 months, so many news that I could feel like 2 hours just talking about what happened, because the change is happening very fast in a lot of different places. But I don't want to do that. So just a small snapshot, and I think that we'll catch more news in the next meetup. I will also say, I will mention that there is one of the creators of AWE is called Tom Enrich, and he has a blog in Medium where he has a roundup, a monthly roundup with all the interesting news about augmented reality. I think it's highly recommended for somebody that's interested in this kind of what's going on picture. And usually in this slide we have a community shout out, and this is your chance if you contact us a few days before the meetup, if you are looking for somebody to work for you. If you have a project you've made in augmented reality and you want to show the community or just offer them something interesting, I think this is the place usually you get, but we haven't met for a long time, so we're going to shout out this time. And now we're back in the agenda, and I will call Ori. Lauren, sorry. Ori we don't have. We have Ori, but he's not. Just a second. And I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties that may arise, because usually we do. Yes, it is. Now let's see how. זה עושה לא למילה אחת, זה משהו שלם, אני חושב ש...
ליד הזום, ליד המינוס של הזום.
תודה רבה.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Good.
Yeah.
So my name is Oren. This is me. Moved back to Ramat Sharon about a year ago after 18 years in Silicon Valley. Speak up, please. Yes, you can't hear me. So 23 years in the high-tech industry. Spent 18 years of them in Palo Alto, California. Just moved back a year ago. Last 3 years I've been immersed in MR mostly, mixed realities. Helped a few companies, a few startups, was involved with Native Vision as well. Since I moved back a year ago, I took the UC Davis AR Sandbox, if you know what it is, if you've ever seen it. Built it for the schools here in Ramat Sharon as a voluntary project, as a community project. I'm setting up on a very ambitious project with a few companies here. It's a long talk that we can have a few months from now if it's starting to happen. And then I am not AWE, although I'm wearing the shirt of last year's event. I am volunteering with AWE, as is Odile.
Nice to meet you.
And we have OE, Yehel from Premium, the event producer, the organizer, who was actually building the event. And I'm going to discuss AWE, what it is if you don't know. How many of you have ever been in an AWE event? Probably in Santa Clara? Yeah. I'm going to discuss what it is. I'm going to discuss why it's coming out. I just got to tell you one thing, that this meetup is very similar to the ones we have in New York and in San Francisco. It started out like this and then became, in about a year or two, 300 people per meetup from all across the industry, not just developers and stuff like that. So it's growing. It's growing very fast. So you should be ready for this space to the guys at Santa Clara sent you this video this morning to pump you up. It's only 40 seconds. stuff. We're ready to go. Woo. So it is coming. It's coming, and it's a work of a lot of people to bring it here. It's a world event, and it's focusing on Israel for this time. It's on November 5th at the Intercontinental David Hotel. It's a one-day event. And for those of you who don't know, it's the #1 event right now in the world. There's about 10,000 participants a year in 3 annual events. One in Santa Clara. This year in Europe, it's going to be in Munich. It's actually going to be in a week from now, or actually right now. And then it was in Beijing, and I'm saying surprisingly in Tel Aviv because AW doesn't concentrate on one country ever. So this is very special. And you sitting here should know why, but we'll cover that. There's also, under the AW brand, there's AW Unite. AW Unite is exactly what you're having here. There's already 9 cities in the world that are hosting it. It's a meetup. It's a very big meetup, and they're all under the same umbrella of AW Unite. AW Unite is in a very nice relationship with Amui in this meetup, and this is why we are here. Actually, Amui brought us here, and this is why you're actually going to see the discount in the last slides, and why the event is going to give you those discounts. So why focusing on Israel? There's a feeling across the world that the entire stack is found here, that there's a lot of expertise and knowledge here. I'll go to the extent to say that when I left in MEDA, a very prominent person there told me that we're going to the greatest place because most of the XR in the world is in Israel. I spent a year here, I walked around, it's not. But the perception is that it is. And so you have to figure out why, okay? And the reason is that the entire stack can be found here. Anyone here from the company from Lumos? Anyone here from Infinity AR? Okay, so if you're raising those things, so we have the entire stack from the optics to the OS. We have companies, Resonite, anyone? Okay, so we have companies integrating AI into our solution, into the solutions. We have a lot of design and production studios. We have real-world applications and solutions. There's hospitals here who are using VR to treat pain, to treat burn victims. We have a community that's growing. You see this. This is not the only meetup. There's overlaps with gaming. There's overlaps with other meetups that talk about these subjects. Big corporations are opening sites. We know that Magic Leap has. Part of the restructuring message about 2 weeks ago about Meta was, if you read it, that they are restructuring. It has fallen through, but now they're going to have a San Mateo site, a Beijing site, or a China site, and at the very end it says an Israeli site. So yeah, they failed to, but then that actually might have led to an Israeli site for Meta Vision. We have ongoing academic research here in Herzliya, in the IDC. We have a very progressive lab there. In the Technion, Miriam Weiner is showing amazing stuff. They just spun out a company out of there. It was called Brainview. Got bought by Mantis. So there's a lot of stuff going on in research. There's actually students actually are learning the subject. Any students here that are learning AR and VR? None yet. But the IDC actually has and is being pressured to say, teach the students about XR. So we need to teach them that. So now we have critical mass coming and feeding into the industry. So that's going to happen in about a year or two. And so, I failed to mention Elbit. Elbit was always there. The helmets were always there. About 30 years now. You look, it always was augmented reality helmets. Now they have tanks that are becoming transparent. Now they have jets that are landing themselves without any windows for the cockpits. So we have a lot of stuff going on here, and I think that's where the perception is that Israel is the trend. We're going to have a one-day. There's going to be general sessions for leading industry analysts, investors, and corporations. They're actually coming from abroad to over here. But the companies from here that are sponsoring it are also giving speakers. So you're going to have, actually Resonite is going to be there. You guys are actually building a room there, right here. Is that true? Do you know that? So just so you know. Oh, sorry. Forget what I said. But it's going to be impressive. It's going to be very impressive. And there's a lot of others. We have the big corporations joining as well. Intel is supporting this. They're going to have a presence there. IBM probably. And perhaps even a surprise or two. Any Magic Leap people here? Raise your hand. They're secret usually. We don't know if that's going to happen, but we're working very hard on it. They have not said no yet. Let's put it this way. So we might actually have Magic Group join us. We're going to have startup pitches and B2B meetings. If you're looking for funding, if you're looking for money, there's going to be investors there. And the website actually is going to list all of these investors. We're going to match you up. And so everything that you saw in that video from Santa Clara is going to be a mini event over here. If you want to snapshot, are you going to send those slides?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna share it.
Okay, so you're going to have a link to the website. It's going to be from 8:45 until 7:30. There's tracks, the general sessions. Just look at the agenda at the website. The most important thing for us right now is that you spread the word. Talk about it. Talk to anyone that you know. Tell them that it's coming. Okay? There's good traction right now. I mean, a lot of people are talking about it. There's a difference between talking about it and making a move and coming and joining. So go ahead and talk to everyone and say, come along. Join the conference. AWE, Orion Bar is the founder. I'm not going to talk about Orion and what he does because that's a big talk. And he's actually going to be here before the conference, and I think we will try to pull him here for the meetup to actually give, it's Ori and Tom that we already mentioned. They can give you the roll-ups, they can give you the industry one-on-one. You should take a snapshot of this or wait for the presentation. AWE has decided to give 70 people here, and I think we're about 70 people here, discounts. What you need to do is, and this is all run by Premium, the event organizer. What you need to do is send an email to the email address that you have here with the subject, first name, last name, and a contact phone number, and send it by tomorrow morning, okay? The reason is the discount is for the people sitting here, specifically for this meetup, because of the relationship between the two meetings, okay? You won't see those prices. We're not giving those prices. Actually, they're not giving those prices for anyone else who's registered, okay? First 20 emails, 150, you're showing that you're serious. Next 50 emails, 200 shekels, and it does not include lunch, but it includes the entire conference, okay? They will send you, Premium will send you a code back by Tuesday night for registering, and you have till Thursday to register, okay? After that, we have to take it out, okay? That's it. See you in November. Please come.
So our next speaker is Alia. Yeah, he's gonna connect his computer. So just a short introduction. Alia is organizing the Unreal Group, Israel's biggest Unreal Group meeting. The only and biggest. It's very active actually if you are developing or considering developing content for 3D platforms, VR or AR. I think that Unreal is a really interesting option. And they are a very active and supportive group. I recommend you coming to their meetups. Other than that, he's also an expert developer himself, working with the same technologies for a few years now. And he got to a chance to actually try and work with the Magic Leap one. So he's going to share his...
More try than work with it, but yeah.
So, yeah. Give it up.
Hey guys, like what we said, my name is Aryeh. I have a studio for developing AR and VR and AR, more VR than AR applications. How many people here are developers, as in Unity/Unreal developers? Okay, not that many. Okay, so I was going to show how to get started with with Magic Leap on Unreal, but as I see that there are not that many, so I will do this a little bit different. Okay, so first of all, I have to say that
רואים? לזוז
לא,
כבר.
כן, היינו פה פה
הנה, אני לוקח, סליחה.
takes a little time for it to warm up again. Here we go. So first I have to say that I'm a little sleep deprived. Had a second baby son 2 months ago. Apparently that affects my my ability to read emails, so I didn't know the talk was going to be in English. So if I start mixing it up with it a little bit out of delirious, then excuse me. So I'm here to share with you my experiences with the Magic Leap 1. I had a chance to try it and do some stuff with it a while ago. Who of you doesn't know what Magic Leap is, or
It's a big whale.
it's a big yeah, that's a big whale. Anyone here doesn't know what Magic Leap is? Everybody knows. So,
There was one that's back.
okay. Who has the HoloLens? It's not that. So, Magic Leap. So Magic Leap, as you know, has really been a hype thing for the last, 4 years, I think. They hyped it up really big, and then they came out with that. Is the hype justified? It can be. It has potential to be. I can say from comparison to the right now competitor, which is the HoloLens, that it does. I don't know if it's the tech or if it's the content, because it's really different. I mean, from the presentation, because Magic Leap really invested in content that appeals to developers like me, like everybody who wants to make content, and not only applications. They cater for entertainment. They know the market. They know where the money is, right? And from the startup package that you get with Magic Leap, you can see it. So first, let's talk about the hardware. So what you get is the Magic Leap glasses, the top, the computer that goes with it, and a controller. So you can see some specs. It's an NVIDIA CPU. Has 128 gigabytes of storage, which is nice. It's good. It has plenty of space for applications. It's a battery that can last. They said up to 3 hours. Of course, if you connect it to an outlet, which you don't want to do it, but if you want to do it, then it lasts longer. Connectivity, right? 8 gigabytes of RAM. It's a solid portable device, right? So first, my impressions of the form factor. So Magic Leap, contrary to the HoloLens, which sits more like a Corona, this one sits a little bit more skewered on your head. So it doesn't show from here, but maybe from the other slide. No, this one. So you can't really see it, but it sits a little bit, the back of it sits almost at the top of your head. The ergonomics are a little bit weird, right? For anybody who tried other devices, VR devices, or the HoloLens, you'll find it, I think, a little bit awkward at first, because it kind of feels like it's almost going to fall, but it doesn't. when you can, the nice thing that they did is like they have this, it's like a plastic with a steel strap inside, and it's elastic, so it fits to your head. And after you start using it, after like 10, 15 minutes, you don't feel it anymore, and it's okay. But, and it's a good solution. It doesn't move, it's really sturdy, so that's nice. The computer, the onboard, the puck is, you put it in your pocket. I'm guessing people saw the videos of that. But I can say that it's nice, it's sturdy, it stays in your pocket, it doesn't fall, you don't even feel it after a while, it doesn't intrude or anything, you can walk with it, you almost don't feel it after a while. Sorry? No, the thing is that it has ventilation, so the ventilation comes out to the upward, and then as you never go like this because your hand is always, so you don't feel it. So everything goes like that. So you might feel a little bit heat over here, but it's nothing. You don't. It's not something that bothers you really. Now the controller, myself, and this is just me, I didn't find it that comfortable. Coming from VR, where I use either the HTC Vive or the Oculus Rift with its controllers, when you have controls now like the Oculus Touch, which is very ergonomic. Anybody here uses it? Oculus Touch? Yeah, so you know that it's really nice on your hand. It's ergonomic, and you have all these buttons, and everything is like, it feels really right. But here it feels like, I don't know, for me, it feels like they didn't want to intrude with button choices, and then it's a hit and a miss because it's also very, it doesn't have that many options, right? And the touchpad it doesn't have a button, right? It's just a touchpad. Okay, so it feels a little bit that they missed on this one. But again, that's my opinion. Some of you will try it, might say it's good. I don't know. It's pretty sturdy. It's heavy, right? So it doesn't feel like it's going to fly out of your hand for any second. And basically, there's not much to tell about it. It's pretty simple.
What is the sensors?
Sorry?
The sensor.
So there's the cameras, the IR sensors. So the lenses. That's the interesting part because they have like a two-layer lens that when you that it has a very it changes focal length, focal distance. So like if I look at you, everybody else behind you for me will be blurred. Right?
They solved the focus problem?
Not exactly. They started doing it because they only have two layers, right? And to get real rich and right focal depth, you have to start from about 6. But they didn't solve that. That was too difficult for them. I don't know. They didn't solve that one. And that's one of the main complaints about them, that they promised something that was really immersive and really close to the human eye experience, and it's not that. But I do have to say that having two focal distances, that you can feel that you're looking at something which is here and everything else is blurred like it should be, it does make it feel a lot more immersive and natural. Okay. The funny thing is that because it's only 2, you can see if you look really fast and the eye tracking doesn't keep up, then you can see it change. Like you can see the image, the blurred image get sharp, and the sharp image get blurred when it's like 2 different objects, right? But it's not something to it bother that much. Tracking. So when you start the device, when you do the login, you still don't have. Who knows what SLAM is? Okay, so I'll explain. So don't ask me the for it because I don't remember. But SLAM is basically we have the cameras, the algorithms scan the room for flat surfaces or any kind of surface, and it creates a mesh over that surface where it actually kind of recreates your environment in 3D. So everything you put inside that world can interact in the right way with the environment, which means that if I take like this virtual club and I would put it like this, and this was not, let's say, meshed, right? So you would see it, even though this should obscure it, right? But when you do the SLAM, and this gets meshed, then it knows that this should obscure what I have in my hand, and then you'll only see you see the part which you should see in the real world, right? So this is what SLAM is. So when you get into the before you do the meshing, let's say they call it meshing for the first time, so the glasses have to rely on constant tracking of the environment, which does cause some drift. You know what drift is? Who doesn't know what drift is? Everybody knows? So drift is when I see something which, like I see this chair, and as I move, the chair should stay put, right? But it doesn't, because the calculations are not as correct as they should be, and then the chair seems to drift a little bit from its position, right? And that kind of does problems. But after you do a meshing solution for it, everything stays put as it should be, and the tracking is really solid. So if you get the glasses and you put them on for the first time, and suddenly things start moving for you on the floor, then just know that you'll have to do a meshing of the room first, and then it will be solid. But so this is
for you go out to the street and for the first time.
So I did it in-house, but I've seen some videos of people who took it on the street. I've seen someone who took it in the forest and did some cool things with it in the forest. I tried the Create app, which lets him paint some plants and stuff on the ground, and it really looked cool because there was these trees, and then he put some virtual trees, and it really looked nice to see it combined. Tracking is not that great outdoors, but it can still be okay in different lighting, in the right lighting conditions, right? Obviously, when you try to mesh a tree, it will not give you a good resolution of the mesh, but it will give you something. So let's see. We're talking about this. The tracking of the controller. So, controller is tracked not by the cameras here. Controller is tracked by a magnetic solution. This thing here, this little bump, it has a magnetic tracking device. Do you know 6 Sense? Anybody use the Hydra ones? No? There's an Israeli company actually called 6 Sense, which developed these kind of tracking solutions a long time ago, and they had pretty nice tracking. I think they developed the first motion controllers, which is called the Hydra. It was really, it didn't take then because it didn't have really a purpose. It was like more of a nice gadget. But I remember that right after VR became a thing, everybody like was on eBay and they were trying to find, because the Oculus Rift, the DK1 and DK2, they didn't have controllers then, right? So we had to do it with an Xbox controller, and we wanted hands. So everybody was going looking around for any surviving Razer Hydras on eBay, and it was crazy that they sold them for hundreds of dollars in things that weren't worth any $50. So the controller is tracked by that technology. I can say it's not the best thing. You can see there is not the correlation between the actual controller and the representation of the virtual controller. You can see some disparity there, right? But again, it's not that intrusive with you only aim with this beam, and there's no interaction. You don't have to. It's not like you have with the VR controls. We actually use them for hands. You don't use this controller for hands. It's just like for pointing and like dragging stuff with a beam. So that's why I said that the controller is not that well thought of. I think they need to rethink that. But again, that's their thing. Now, yeah.
Can you use your hands at all?
Yes, there is hand tracking. You can do gestures. Only in. I will show it in the. I'm saving it for last because they didn't. For the most part of what they're giving as starter package, there is no actual use for hands. They didn't. I don't know why. Actually, they didn't do more hand tracking applications, but they did. So most of them are relying on the controller, and I'll talk about some of them, going from the simplest to the most. So the first one is called screens, which is basically what it is. You're able to create these virtual screens, resize them, play files on them, play YouTube on them. It also combines with the Helio browser that they have. And you can put them anywhere you want in the room. Of course, you can use multiple screens. It's not something. It's you can see, you saw it, and you can see it in the HoloLens too. Sorry. Putting the sound. Just like I'll turn down the sound.
And then you pull finessing and frustrated and drive. Little trickery behind the back and up and apart.
Turn it off again. So basically it's, and then they have this is the simple use of this. And then they did this, which is like an augmented view of the of what you see. So let's see that. I'll just like rewind it. If I can see that, like here, stick to this. Okay. So, what they did this time, this thing is with the NBA. They are showing. Now I'm talking about actual experiences and how it is. and the user experience. So what they did is basically they said, okay, so you have the statistics of the game, and you have statistics of the MVP, and you can push any data you want, right? It's like what a lot of companies are trying to do with second screen, right? You know, where you can get a second screen, where you can get like if you have a tablet, then you can download an app, and then it gives you statistics. And if you see a movie, you get the name of the actors and some data about the movie, whatever. So here it's like you have it's the same. It's only augmented, so you can walk around it. And it's nice. You can see it from different angles, and then you also when they have like there's a big play like a dunk in this you can see LeBron dunking. So it's cool. It's a little bit gimmicky in my opinion, but it's nice. It shows you what you can do with the medium. I'm guessing sometime forward they'll also take the court and just like size it into like a full-size court, and then you'll stand in the court with the screen and see the game, and you'll have LeBron coming right next to you and dunking and maybe talking to you or doing some interview or whatever, and you'll see it like in telepresence. So this is a simple app basically. I wanted to say something else. I didn't show it. I'll show it in the next video, which is this. This is the UI. This is actually the main UI of the operating system. It's called Lumen. It's very simple. It's like you have these circles. Sorry. I told you. I'm tired. So you have the circle, and it's pretty simple, right? I don't know if the thing is that it's nice and it's centered. So what Magic Leap is trying to do, it's trying because of the field of view. The field of view is okay, right? So everybody was wondering the field of view. Everyone was talking the field of view. It's not. It was good enough. It's not good enough. Well, it's bigger than the HoloLenses. It's smaller than we would want, but if you design your applications right, okay, it shouldn't bother the viewer, the user, because what they're trying to do basically is say, okay, listen, if you keep your user at a certain distance, related to the size of what you are showing him, he will not lose. He won't feel the cutting of the object. So the UI is mainly staying in front of you. It depends on in which app, but I'll show it later how it's done. So the thing is that if I look aside, okay, the UI will come back into my field of view, right? So I don't have to look for it, which is really smart. Okay, here they really thought about they understood that and this is my experience as well for the HoloLens, which was really I really hated that because I had to look for everything, and until I found something, it was so bad. And it really made me very tired really fast, and I just like took it off. But here, contrary to the HoloLens, it was really nice. I mean, I didn't feel I was losing my UI or my menus, right? I felt I was mostly in control of my environment, which is very important because, again, the field of view is it's still not full, right? Yes.
Do you need to tap anything to summon the menu?
No, it's just there. It's just
in the middle of your eye?
It's there when you use an app, and then yeah. So when you mean during the like if I
Watch faster.
yeah. So no, it's not. But and then you have like a. Did you see the controller? It has just two buttons. It's like it has the trigger and it has a home button here, and then there's the touchpad. So the home button gets the UI up whenever you want to. But basically, when the app is running, the UI obviously disappears.
It's like open interface.
The what?
It's like open interface.
Yes. Only this one, it gets in front of you whenever you finish something, then you get it and you don't lose it, which is nice. They did go for round shapes, which are more pleasant to the eye. They didn't go for sharp edges and menus, which I think is nice, and I think it's a good design. And they kept it simple. You know, they didn't want to overload you with tons of menus, so everything is really simple and nice.
Any audio control?
Sorry?
Can you control it by audio speaking to it?
Sorry, again.
Can you control it by audio speaking to it?
No, it does have a microphone, but it has, for the audio you have to have some implementation of it. It's not built in.
It is.
What do you mean?
HoloLens is built in.
Yeah.
HoloLens is built into the operation system.
You don't. There are no things that there in this one. They didn't implement any speech for the. And actually, I didn't find. I don't think I ever tried. Voice operated application that I liked. I don't. But again, it's my. I don't think we're there yet. And I tried a lot of them. I even tried the Xbox when it came up with the new Kinect, where we can operate the whole Xbox with your voice, and it was terrible. Sorry, it's just terrible. Yeah.
Did they show some sort of scalability implementation of this menu?
What do you mean scalability?
What happens when you have 20 buttons?
20 what?
20 buttons.
They scale, but just so to a side that you can still see it. You don't have like this kind of and then this in the middle one when you want to get the other apps, you just press here and you get it. You get the other apps and you can scroll, and then it just makes you can scroll through everything. And then it's just like, it's like a dial when you have more apps and you can find them like that. Yes, sort of. You get your apps, you get your other apps. You can also press, and then you have, if you want the apps like in a list, you can have that too. So it depends. You can define that. So the next one is the Helio, which is the web browser that they designed. So basically, it's a web browser, right? In every aspect. You can browse the web, YouTube, whatever. But the special thing that they showed with it is the 3D content and what you can do where it's live 3D content that you can play with. So let's say you see even the developer page, you can pull out the Magic Leap logo as a model, and you can put it anywhere in your room, right? So it's basically like it's a picture, right? So and you can have different kinds of models that you can incorporate in web pages, which is really cool because then it really enriches the environment, the experience, right? So you can already think about what you can do with these. So let's say you have like an auto, like a Ford, right? You can have the full car that I can pull out and look. I can read the specs, and then I pull the car out of the web page, and I put it next to me, and I can just walk around it and see it, right? So you can understand the applications for this. This is really cool. They also showed.
What is the resolution of that?
It's good enough. I wouldn't say it's super, but it's good enough. You don't
You don't see pixels.
Yeah, it's don't seem to be bothered about it. If you really look at things and you try to get close, which is another thing, by the way, when you get close, the clipping plane for objects, like where the object gets cut, when you get close to them, is pretty far from what you would want. So I can't, if I see like this image, like this guy standing on this chair, I can get about this close. If I get closer, it gets clipped, which is a bummer. But they say this is the best way that they found to view it. Otherwise, I don't know, it gets heavy with the device or something. But that's really something that I was really disappointed about. But because in the beginning there's this nice, but you can see, by the way, this is like let's say like an IKEA style stuff where you can actually look at the furniture and pull it out. You know what I'm talking about. So you can just like pull the furniture out, which you can try it immediately in your room, right? Which is really cool. And you can get the price and everything. You can buy immediately if you want it. It's nice. You thought it was nice. You immediately buy it, and you can like furnish your whole house immediately with what you want. And if it fits you, if the scheme fits you, you can change the colors. You can change the textures, and then you can just like order what you want, right? So the applications for this are really, really, really rich, and I'm really looking forward to that as e-marketing, e-commerce solution. I really want to see what they do with this, because I've seen some really cool stuff. People do this with shoes, where you just like you have like the shoe, you have the presentation of the shoe, and then with some kind of marker, you put your foot in the shoe, and then when it recognizes your foot, you can like lift your foot, and the shoe stays on the foot right. So that's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to it with this kind of applications where I can actually interact with it like this. Right? It was really cool. I pulled some nice furniture. I put it in my living room.
So why you need to buy if you just
What?
don't need to buy?
Because when you come, because when you want to sit on the chair and not fall, then you actually need the actual chair.
Put the real chair, you know, augment it.
Yeah, but it's still not. It's too transparent yet. It's not. By the way, this is something nice where they showed. This is something.
Well, the resolution in terms of a Rift or Vive or
You can't really compare that because you don't see pixels. It's not the same. There's no screen door effects because it's not a screen. It's sort of a screen, but it's not the same. It's not the same projection technology. So and also.
but you see sharp, like the same sharpness?
It's not, because the images, and this is what I wanted to say, because the images are still a little bit transparent. It depends on where you're looking at, if it's a bright spot or a dark spot. At some spots it can look really opaque, and at other spots it still looks transparent. So it really, the experience differs according to lighting conditions. It's still not there, I have to say, but I think it's a really good start. Actually, I think that this, for me, I felt this is the place where I want to have some wearable to start developing on. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, this is what I would want for the beginning. Let's say my DK1 for the AR, a wearable AR, right? So this is nice. This is it's like it's the New York Times. They had this article about was like some sort of volcanic eruption that covered the city, and then they took some photogrammetry of the place, and then you can have then you can see some of the damage. You actually can walk around and you can see some of the damage and how it is. right? So you can, so it's interesting to do this kind of stuff with news and augment the experience. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this as in like in telepresence. If when they would actually when you'll have like some speeches by the prime minister or whoever, and then he stand in your, actually can pull him out of the screen and just like put him in your living room. You can talk. So so again, it's a very interesting application to augment flat web pages.
So we already did this in 2008, CNN, broadcast resident.
Yeah, of course. It's not something new, but again, when it's different. I'll tell you this. You're right. It's not new. And nothing of the. I don't think anything that they showed, almost anything, is something that we didn't see as pixels on a screen, right? Or let's say in VR. But it's the first time, for me at least, that I really felt that it's connecting me on the level in which I am, in the level that I can feel that I know it's not real, but it can fool me in some parts, and I'm getting to that. And I'm very, I work with VR every day, and I can tell you I'm not afraid to walk over canyons or chasms or walk in the air. It's not something that I'm already past that. And to get me to say, hey, wow, that was a moment, it's hard. Because when we are working with it all the time, it's hard to get us past that threshold. You know what I mean? You already, it's like when you work with, like when you, let's say you're a dancer, right? So it's very different from where you went to dance in a club where you did it for fun and every night was like exciting and this. When you're a dancer, it's like, it's already, you know the drill, right? It's different. And then to get you excited about this, the thing that you experienced, to experience that again in a different way, the way that you felt it the first time, that's the trick. So, just, how much time do I have?
Did you try it outdoor?
I didn't try it, but I did see some videos of people who did. It looks okay. So, I'll talk about the two more things. One of them is I'm just ramping it up. This is the Create app, which is really, I think this is the second best app that they have, at least experience-wise. The Create app is actually, this is the place where you do the meshing first, you see? Let's see if it does it. So, this meshing that I talked about, this app is actually requiring you to do that in order because it's not just the screens that you're putting on, and it's not like some rectangular things that you acquire. It's actual, it's a living, animated object, right? And they want and they need to interact with your environment, right? So you have to mesh the environment correctly so they can interact with it correctly. So what happens is it tells you to look around, and there's the icons of the eyes, right? And you can see the process of the meshing, how it creates the mesh around you, the slam, right? And it tries to create it with as little, less holes as it can. You can see there are some still holes, and it will say, like you look at somewhere, and then it says, listen, I can't do this right. Maybe you should get closer. Sometimes you get closer, it's okay. Sometimes it's not. But it does a pretty good job. I can say that these, like the places where it's black, not this, but like it wouldn't do my TV. Like I look at my TV, I try to get nothing. When it's black, it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't mesh it. I don't know. It's like it doesn't see it. Like I have another laptop which is black. Couldn't mesh it. When I put a piece of paper on it, immediately it covered it. So it still has its flaws, right? They still have to work on the algorithms, but it does a pretty solid job. Basically, it does a pretty solid job. After it says the last one, it will still tells you, listen, you still have holes. Try to fill the gaps. Look at where I'm showing you there are holes, and try to fill them up. Some of them it will manage, some of them it will not. And after you decide, okay, fine, I'll live with this. You see, this is where this will be a hole, right? So if I throw something in there, it will just fall, like it falls over an edge, right? And then when you decide, okay, I want to start the experiment, it will give you like this toolbox, and in the toolbox you have a lot of cool stuff. You have some static objects like hats, you have some clocks, you have some the static objects that are not that interesting. What's interesting are the animated objects. You can have paint, you can, I bet you saw that, that's not, okay.
Is it using
This is
the
our
laser or
What?
infrared or laser?
Yes, it does both cameras and infrared. I'm going to show you this good stuff, which is, sorry. The fun things are the physics, right? So you have objects which are physics. We have physics. You can see that they really, this is where the magic is, okay? Screens, interactive stuff, that's good, okay? That's nice, that's cool. But the magic is this, the interactive stuff which has physics, because then you start to play with it. Then you start to feel the world is alive around you, right? So this is just a cube, but then you have these little knights which are cool, and you just like throw some of them around, and they just like walk on your floor. And if you put one on the chair, it will get to the edge. Sometimes it will fall off, and it's cool to look at it fall, and you wait for it to fall. So it's really magical, this thing. Not pun not intended, but it is, right? Because you have some stuff which is like floating islands or corals, which you can paint like with a brush. I know it sounds childish, but it's really cool, and it's not childish at all, because then you start to feel how it is to create a world around you. I mean, really create a world around you in your real environment, which is really this is what I think augmented reality should be, right? In the way to do that, you can have this. There's like this black hole that sucks everything into it. You can put it on your wall and then throw stuff into it, which is really cool. Now, if you have if you have a window, right, and then it doesn't get meshed. So it's like you have these fish, and you put them in the air, and then suddenly, and if they get to the window, you suddenly see them float into the sky and just like swim away into your street, which is super cool, because well, it's super cool. I mean, there's no way. I mean, it's like it's a feeling, right? I can't really I can say a lot about it, but it's something you have to see and feel. It's a real magical moment where you see the jellyfish suddenly swim out the window into the street, and you have to follow it. You have to just like walk to the window and just like see where it goes, because who gets a jellyfish to want to fly out this window?
Where
right?
is all this stuff stored? Is there on-device storage, or is it in the cloud? Are you going to
No, it's in the application. It's on. You download it into the device.
No, that's the implementation, but the things that you put there, you're supposed to come back to that room tomorrow, and they're all going to be there. Where is all that stuff saved? Is it on the cloud? Is it on the device?
On the device.
But you
Right
don't
now,
need,
it's on the device. In this application, it's on the device.
you don't need to match the room again, right? You don't need,
The thing is that they said, I only had one shot with it, so I didn't try it, but I did read that some people are saying that they had problems reloading they are promising this, that it saves your meshed environment. For me, it stayed where it is because I only tried it for one session, but I'm guessing they still have work to do on this. It's not, I mean, you know, they just released it and it's developed. As much as Ronnie Abovitz can say whatever he wants to say, this is a development kit, guys. Don't mistake it. It's not a consumer product. No way. Okay? It's great as a developer. What?
Connected to the internet, Wi-Fi, 3G?
Yes. Wi-Fi. No, Wi-Fi. Only Wi-Fi. No 3G. 3G you would use what?
This is 4 or 5G.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't have cellular. It doesn't have cellular connection. It does. It has a Wi-Fi. It requires a Wi-Fi for you to log on to it. When you first when you log on to that, you have to put in your password. It sends you. That's crazy. I don't know why they do that. Every time you need to log on to something which is magically, they send you a password to your email. You have to put in the password. The login process was tiring. I can say that they have to do something with that because it's tiring. So the Create app, this is the app that I mean I felt that hit the chord that said okay, I want to get me one of these, right? And then I said the best for the last. This is something that you have to try because I can say whatever can say about it, but the experience. There's an application that's called Tonandi. It's by the music. Yes, it's by the music band called Siguros. If you know them.
yeah.
Yeah. So they did something. I mean, if Create made me feel like I wanted a device, this thing made me like if I could go to a shop and buy it, I would, because this thing, it's not much to look at when you see it like this, I have to say. After I tried it, I saw it on the screen and was like, what? Come on. It's like, you'll see. Well, basically, here, this is, when you asked me about hand tracking, this is the only application I tried that actually used it, right? Because they didn't want you to use a controller here. They wanted you to actually interact with your hands. So it started with this. You can see him, and this is so the objects, the swarms, the particles, everything is like there's music, and the music is amazing. The sound work that they did on the phones, which are like it's like. There's no headphones. It's like on the device, right? The speakers are here, and they project right into your ears, and it's amazing. It's like they have directional audio, so you can what?
When it plays, everybody can hear it.
No, the
It's an
thing.
experience. Yeah. It blasts like.
What, this?
Yeah.
Not so
The
much.
sound is not really good.
I did it with a friend, and when he used it, I almost couldn't hear what he was doing. And when I put it on, it blasts into my ear. So I don't know, maybe we did different. But the thing is that it reacts to your hands, right? The swarms, the particles, everything reacts to your hands, and you look around for stuff, and it merges with your room, and then you get these kinds of like lava like this is amazing. This is something. This is crazy because this is like electricity like particles. When you touch it, it reacts, and it's like it does like a thing on your fingers, and I swear I did this. I actually did this, although I didn't get electrocuted, but I did this because my brain thought I was, and this was like what I talked about, this feeling that, hey, wow, okay, this is cool, It really affected me. So this is an amazing experience, really. And then you have like different. It really doesn't. The screen doesn't do it justice, right? I'm telling you, this is. I can't show it to you any other way, but you know, you really have to try this. If you get your hands on Magic Leap, be sure to try this because it's super cool. It's super amazing, and it's like a 20 minutes, I think. Experience. You have to look for some of this. You have to understand. Sometimes you have to look for something, and suddenly you find it floating, and then you try to catch it, and it reacts, and the chain reacts into something different, something else. And again, the magic is that it's happening in your room, in your house, in your environment, and you feel much more connected to it than you would in VR, which is like disconnects you from your environment. It's a different experience, right? It's the relation between you and the environment and what's happening is totally different. I have to tell you. But don't take my word for it. Try it. It's really amazing. So this is the most prominent experience I did with it. I'll save this for last. So now to sum it up, my experience with the Magic Leap was positive for the most part, except for the caveats I said, the thing I said which I didn't like, but they really are not that consequential with respect to the things that I did like, and I really recommend for anyone who wants to get into wearable augmented reality to get one and try, or at least try before you buy, but definitely go try it wherever you can. You know, opinions differ. This is mine. But I really think that this can be the start of great wearable augmented reality experiences. Obviously, it needs to get better, but yeah.
How heavy is the headset?
You don't feel it. After 5 minutes on your head, you don't feel it.
So it's suitable for kids as well?
Yes, definitely.
And how long can you play?
I was with it on my head for about, I think, an hour and a half. For me.
And the battery was ready?
Yeah, it was okay. We fully charged it and it still had juice. It still had juice. They promised 3 hours. I didn't push it to the limit, so I don't know. But I could see the battery still had at least not exactly maybe a half, maybe a third more in the tank. So it's okay. It's solid.
The goggles are tethered to the disc.
To the disc, yes.
So where does it lie?
Sorry?
Where does the
You put it like here. Puck sits in your pocket. It like clips. Not even clips, but it sits really tight in your pocket. It doesn't fall. Yeah, usually you put it like this. So your hands are free. You don't put it here because then you put it from, and then you don't feel it. Really, after you're so immersed in this that it really, I didn't even remember I had this.
How can I get money to that?
Sorry.
איך מרוויחים זה כסף?
Right now, they just started. Listen, they just started. So the ecosystem is young, right? It's like when Oculus started, they didn't have anything, right? They just like had some apps floating around in different websites that were willing to host the apps because they liked the concept of VR. But the company behind it, they started some sort of ecosystem. They have this store, right? It's very basic, very rudimentary store. I'm guessing it will expand with more experience coming forward. There are some nice experiences I know are coming from Weta. You know what Weta is? Lord of the Rings. It's a huge special effects company. Comparable to Industrial Light and Magic, if you know them, right? They did Lord of the Rings, all of them, The Hobbit. They did tons of. They're in New Zealand, and developed an experience that which is coming up right now in October. I don't know, the doctor something, I remember. This is actually, if you remember the video, the infamous video, the one that that everybody was mad about, that it was a CG.
The whale?
You remember that? No, the one that they showed, like I have Google and then I'm doing the calendar and everything was like I'm walking and then robots were coming to attack me. So the robots that you saw in that video are actually supposed to be the robots in this. So they didn't lie, they just stretched it a little bit. Okay. So this is coming up and artists are doing okay, so we need to wrap up. So questions?
Did you try to develop for it?
What?
Did you try to develop for it?
Not yet. I need to still get to get a headset is not easy. They don't sell it outside of the US, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They're coming here in a few months.
They are. They have an office here to sell. Well, okay. You heard it. You heard it here first.
No.
You can get.
Tragically, you never know. You mentioned it's somehow linked to the Unreal engine.
Yeah. So it works with both the Unreal and Unity, of course, basically. I wanted to show how, but we don't have time. It was a little bit long. But anyone who wants to know how it works, I'll show. I can stay and show it. You just basically you download the SDK, and you have right now you have a special. You work with Unreal?
No, but
So basically, they have a special build for Unreal that you can download from the launcher, and that has the magically plugin, and it will be integrated in the next version seamlessly into the next version of the engine. And then after you do some ticking and you need to tick some stuff in the project settings, and that's it. You're ready to go. And they have right now they have the simulator, and then it runs seamlessly. So when you create something inside, Unreal, like a cube, which I wanted to show. It's like if you put a cube in, you just like press play, and then you can see the cube in the simulator, and you can see how it is. How it would be if you look at it in the room.
Don't you need heat?
No, you have a simulator. I can show it after. Yeah, I'll show
Guys,
it.
because we are running late, I don't want to.
I can show it to you afterwards on my computer.
The speakers I'm speaking, so we are gonna have a 5-minute break, and then you can take up questions. And if there is interest, I think there is still a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So I'm here. Everybody wants to ask me something, hit me up.
So please give it up for Ariel. Instead of a 15-minute break, we get 5-minute break, so we can have enough time to hear about the next two startups in this project.
הבאת זוג אחד?
זה הוא, לא
לא, שמנו לו לפתוח.
Okay, guys, we'll continue. Okay, guys, so our next session of our next speaker is Tel AR is the CEO and they're making startup for augmented reality. They are just coming out of stealth mode and they're going to tell us more about what they are doing. Up next will be Abraham with a community project that he's going to show. And after that, another amazing startup called Stops, Eitan will present. So I'm keeping the introductions very short because I don't want to take out of your time. And without further ado, Bar.
Thanks. So, nice to meet you all. Thank you. I'm Bar Saraf, the CEO and co-founder of REST AR. We are bringing 3D content and augmented reality to every retail business. Before I will start, I will just introduce our team. So we are 12 team members, 3 co-founders. I founded a few companies before, but I'm former network security team leader and was VP of product in a few companies that have been acquired. Danny also founded a company that made a $1 million in MRR. It's nice, and acquired as well. And Shimon, our CTO, former team leader from Intel, with vast experience in deep learning, computer vision, and more. So, let's start. 15 years ago, rich visual content on mobile device, it was a dream. Since then, the content passed a long way to augmented reality, virtual reality, and more. So today, you can see that 54% of the consumers say that they still visit in stores because they can't fully visualize products online. It's also, you can see, not only for consumers, you can see that a lot of people are moving from Facebook to Instagram because it's more visual, and like that, many stuff, and this is why we're all here with augmented reality. So more than that, also 61% of the consumers prefer shop with augmented reality. Industry leaders, you can see, say also that shopping will be changed entirely by augmented reality. Amazon, Apple, Google. But all those companies, all those experiences need content. Okay, and currently, this content requires, to create 3D content, it requires a lot of manpower, logistics, high costs, and a lot of technical knowledge. Especially if you need high detailed products to scan or something. So people we can come with some solutions like hand scanners that costs thousands of dollars, and also not giving you the end result that you need to start selling it. And you see after that many applications that started to try to take it to the mobile experience, okay? Because everyone trying to make it scalable, okay? And then they're asking you, take 50 pictures around the product from many angles, and after you finish, with all you invested time in the instructions, in the conditions, on the lighting and everything, and then you see, fail, okay? So unfortunately, this is the situation, but let's not be so negative, okay? Sometimes it works, okay? So using SLAM and some such things, but for for simple mesh, not some difficult, high detail mesh. But let's say that it works, okay? Sometimes. So let's create. Now we can build. We have content, right? So we can build augmented reality companies. So let's, for example, build a company that's creating augmented reality for a restaurant. Okay, simple case study that we can all imagine. Okay, so we used our networking and our connections to get the leading chef of chicken fillet. Okay, his name is Jeff. Okay, you're convincing him why augmented reality is good. It's a good case for his business. It will increase your sales. It will reduce the dishes return rate. It will give you new clients, consumer engagement, and blah blah blah. What everyone was saying. Okay, it's true, by the way. Yeah. But you know, you are giving your sales pitch. Okay, so Jeff convinced, and he say, amazing. Let's create an augmented reality menu. He preparing the dish with all his team. Okay, they set photo shooting day with good lighting and everything. And when he finished, this is what he gets. Okay? Jeff not look so happy now. Okay? So now, but if you ask the CTO will tell you, yeah, it was because there are no feature points here, and also you moved 50% more than you need, and you know, it's long stories that all the time coming up again and again and again. So we just did deep research on the market, and we saw the needs that needs to be solved with this problem. And we said that we need to create it with deep learning in domain, with skills in domain specific. It means that you can't create everything perfect if you will not focus first on niche markets. So we started with food, shoes, bags, and what we do, it's basically, we are using cloud algorithms that we developed to detect what's with segmentation, what's the type of the plates that have here, what's color it is, and also what the lighting in the room, because sometimes if you take the video, the pictures, inside his restaurant, sometimes you have yellow lights. So it also affects on the end result. So by detecting all those things, we succeeded to create really high quality 3D models with 4K texture, and they also less than 500 kilobytes. So this is our rendering solution also. So think about all those opportunities. So in REST AR, we are giving end-to-end solution that enables every business owner to scan and render high-quality 3D content, and also integrate it and present it in augmented reality. Everything using any mobile device. It not requires two cameras, it not requires special hardware, any mobile device. And also from the UX point of view, it's just by taking a short video of 20 seconds or 40 seconds, and that's all done. Okay, so think about all the opportunities that we can create like that if we're solving this issue. After that, all the AR experiences are unlimited. So let's see a few examples. This is a video that Samsung sent us as a test. So you can see they're moving too fast, stop on a paper, without any spatial conditions. This is what they sent us. And after it got our cloud processing, so this is the end result that they got. And this is a simple case, but if we will take a very difficult case, let's take dessert. If you're hungry, this is not the time to look at it. Okay?
Wow, nice.
So this is scanned from video. 40 seconds video.
How big is, כמה זמן לוקח לו לאבד את כל
So currently we didn't focus on the performance, so it takes between 1 hour to 2.5 hours. It depends on the length of the video.
For one object?
What?
It's for one object?
For one object, but you can run few objects in parallel. So it's not something that, if you have 10 objects, they all will be ready after 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay?
So what's the requirement? This is not delighted, right? Delighted as in you, it retains the shadows that it was.
Yeah, so this is unlit. Yeah, this is retains the shadow. But currently we are.
So it's baked shadows on it. So
Yeah.
if I'm using an application with dynamic lighting, it will not be.
It will take the dynamic lighting from your objects. I'm just giving you the object, but it's not lit yet. But we have solutions that we are now implementing that we can also detect the lighting, and after that we present it, to project it on top of the 3D model. You know, it's very difficult. I don't know when it will be live in production, but we have some solutions.
What's the requirements of taking the video? Does it have to be a 360 view?
Yeah, so basically you should put it on some placement, okay? And then you should, just to keep it your hand stable, it's okay if you are moving a bit, you are a human being, it's okay. And just rotate it. So you rotate it 360 degrees, and that's all.
So it's not like you can go on YouTube now, pull up a video and create an object.
I wish, no. This is my dream. Maybe it will happen.
How about transparent objects?
Transparent object, we still can't do it.
How about people?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's worldwide problem, but
מה הקשר לדיפלרנינג? זה רק בנדל קלאסמנט? טוב, מה
with deep learning you need to, for example, plates, most of the time, they are flat. Okay, you don't have feature points, you can detect them, it looks like the algorithm see big white box. So you will not get the plate. Okay, so the business owner don't care what algorithms you have. He wants the end result. So we detect it from the video, then we have assets of plates that we have in our database, and then it's pull them over. But this is the deep learning here, but also deep learning about the lighting and about, for example, to find what you have. For example, if you take video, sometimes you have a blue on one side of the picture, right? And it can affect on your texture. We need to detect it, to cut it off, and then to take only the good part to the texture. But I hope
Can you scan people?
You can do it with Unity.
we can scan people, but we focus on
Train your
products.
deep learning to scan people. It would be interesting.
It depends if you have investments to give us.
Do you have customers?
We have customers.
Which or which type?
So currently we have food chains and also event halls, avenues, and also now we got a few e-commerce with shoes.
And how do they present these videos to their
So it's a good question. Now I will show video that will explain everything.
What is your name again?
Bob.
What company?
Rest, yeah. Rest, yeah. Yeah, I will show you why. Because our vision is not only to create 3D content, yes, it's to bring to make from any existing platform to give them the augmented reality experience. So we will give them the SDK of the augmented reality, but without the content they can't do it. So we are doing it in steps. So this is a short video of all the process, how they take the video and what they use after that. So you can see. another use case of one of our partners in the US, also do the same thing. This is with augmented reality. You can see all the dishes around you. Yeah.
Where are you processing all this?
Okay.
Where are you guys processing this?
What?
Are you processing it on the cloud?
Yes, cloud, because you know all the solutions on the device, the edge device still don't have processing power that can create very high detailed mesh.
So you're paying up all those instances on the cloud to process this as heavy processing, right?
Currently, yes, but we have Shimon. I wish he was here, but he has solutions to optimize it to around 10 minutes, something like that, which 3D model. But we are talking about very high detail. You will see on your device the preview in few seconds. Not now, yeah, but you will see on your device the mesh with SLAM and everything will create you some presentation of what you're going to get, and then the cloud will complete the missing parts.
And you were able to price it so that you are actually making profit out of this? Because you're paying a lot for the processing.
Yeah. From the, yeah.
What format is the file, and how do you integrate it and save it to show it, to show multiple objects into a different scene?
So it's a good question. We have our own format that we created. This is format that compressed in, I think, 90% more than GLTF. Okay, it's giving you very high digital model with 4K texture in less than 500 kilobytes. And we also, because we are giving the SDK that presenting it, so we also have the decompression from the other side.
Okay.
But we also converting it to all the different types that you have now, so you can integrate to existing platforms as well.
Like USD from ARKit, or like you can become...
Yeah, you
Okay,
can use
got it.
ARKit and everything. Sure.
Got it.
Well, let's.
One second. Okay, we are also presenting in the AWE conference, so it will be great to see you all. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you. So I think I saw that there are still more questions, but because we're running late, I think it will be better that you contact Bar later on, so we'll get a chance to see more. Thank you, Bar. And now Avram will speak, and he will discuss one of the issues that are most, I think, problematic for the augmented reality community, is actually how to explain to people that are not part of the community what is the value in augmented reality, where is it all going, and why should we care, why should everyone care about it. So I will show some of the projects that we did just to that end. Introduce.
Hey, good evening. I'm going to be talking about augmented reality and practical use cases. Alright, just going to tell you a little bit about me. My name is Abraham Raskin. I've been working in the augmented reality space for a while. Since I was in primary school, I've fallen in love with this area. And I guess my mission right now is to merge the two worlds, the virtual and the real world, together. So I've traveled in many countries. In about 2013, I was in Peru. I was called to come to San Francisco to join a small startup called Meta. I was the designer there, and my job was basically to create that interface, this whole new world, this new paradigm, which is going to be very, very exciting. Something I learned and saw a lot since then is a lot of people basically had a bunch of screens like this, and all they wanted was to virtualize it. Let's just get it everywhere. So this is what they wanted. This was what augmented reality was going to be for them, and my mission was to make sure this would never happen. So anyways, I moved to Tel Aviv, and I was very surprised when you're in Silicon Valley in that time, AR was everywhere. Always speaking about it, everyone was in the bubble talking about it. Came to Tel Aviv, no one knew about AR at all, which is very surprising. So just back in San Francisco, I was working with augmented reality vision. I thought there was a couple challenges when I came to Tel Aviv, so I went to augmented sound, and since come back to augmented vision, as mobile AR has come out and become bigger, gone back into this area. So anyways, came to Tel Aviv. 2 years later, this came out. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Pokemon Go. This was most people's introduction to augmented reality, this game. Suffice to say, it wasn't amazing. Lots of interesting things. Now, it's funny, if this is your first introduction to augmented reality, there's a couple issues. So you had two people, the people that were playing it the entire time, and then the rest of the world that looked at them as if they're completely nuts. And they're like, listen, I'm not a teenager, I'm not going to be playing with this, I don't need augmented reality in my life, this sounds like a fad. On the other end, you had movies like this, like Iron Man, you had crazy, fantastical computers like Java's, holographic movies, looked all cool, all amazing. Only one problem, most of us are not tech billionaires. We looked at that and said, that's really cool for a movie, I'm never going to need it, it's not going to be in my life, who cares about this? So for most people, their introduction or what they saw about augmented reality, it was a fad. It's either a game for teenagers or for tech billionaires, but it's not for them. So I wanted to see if I could do something here, if I could introduce people to AR and show them the practical use cases. If I could show them how AR is actually going to change their lives, not a kid around them, not other people. How is it going to be me? How is it going to be practical? By the way, there's some things that I'm not going to speak about, but if you have questions about any of the pictures or any of the concepts, you can come to me afterwards, have me go through. So I created this mini-series called 2025. Essentially what it is it's transporting you into the future, in the year 2025. And you're basically, this is the time where augmented reality is the norm, right? Where augmented reality is now the reality. And what we wanted to do is show you the use cases, the simple use cases that we would be dealing with on a day-to-day basis in AR in our world. So I want to share with you 3 clips right now, and go into a little bit. First one is augmented lights. I'll tell you the background after I show you the clip. It's supposed to start. So, very, very short. I'm sure most of you can see it. Basically, the background of this is a couple days before, and I've been living in my apartment for about 2 years, and I still did not understand the light switches there. After 2 years, did not get it. We come in, flip the first switch, the first light goes on, flip the second switch, a light in the next room goes on, third switch, the first light goes back off, switch over there turns on. It was crazy, and I didn't understand that. So I was trying to think, how can augmented reality fix this? For those of you who actually caught this, the book I'm reading is actually a book called The Design of Everyday Things by John Norman. It's considered the grandfather of UX. And this page is actually talking about the UX of light switches, mapping between light switches that are on a 2D plane, usually on a vertical, and then lights which themselves can be in 3D, usually horizontal, and how hard the mapping is between them. So the first thing I thought was, very, very simply, let me just deal with the light itself. If I want to turn off a light, I can just point at it and deal with it. So I've got intent, I've got directionality, I'm dealing with that light. You can go further with this, you can do dimming, multiple lights, if any of you use graphic programs, where you have, what's that thing called? When you can select...
Multiple colors, yeah, palette.
The lasso tool, perfect. So if you want to select multiple lights, you come into a room nowadays, even if you have like an app, you've got lists, very, very difficult to deal with. If you want to control multiple, it would be cool if you could just go in a room, lasso your lights that you want, flick them off.
Is it Bluetooth oriented?
Yeah, I mean, so you could, again, a lot of these are 2025. They're just looking at the design and psychology behind it. But yeah, this would be IoT, you'd be dealing with lights that are connected. This is going into, a lot of what this is addressing is this idea, this concept of mapping, which we'll go into a lot, and that's a very big background. So that was a lot of what this, this one was about. The next one is augmented repairs. Show you that. I'll learn how to do this.
Okay, Siri, can you help me fix this freezer, please?
The motor sounds fine, so this should be a relatively easy fix. It could be one of two problems. Let's go check on the temperature in the freezer first. Okay, someone may have nudged the dial out of place. Let's make sure the dial in the fridge is turned to 5.
Found it. How you guys doing? Tell me about Siri.
Alright. Small background on this video. A couple days before I shot this, our fridge broke. And the roommate came in and said, basically, let's call a repairman, it's going to cost $500. And immediately I was like, okay, no worries. And I was thinking like half an hour later, I was like, 1 second, I'm a computer guy. If something goes wrong with my computer or my phone, my immediate thing is to go to Google, Stack Overflow, start typing in, the first 20 tabs, open them all up, read through them, I'll probably figure it out. Why is it when when something like this happens, my first instinct is not to go to the internet, which has all the manuals and all the instructions of how to fix this, you watch some YouTube videos, why is my first instinct to say, let's call a professional? And I realize it's not something just with me, it's in general, in the public, we have this, there's this problem to, when we think something's too difficult. So I wanted to see if I could break this down and make it a little simpler. You've probably seen repairs with AR, Skype, where you call the guy, points, some animated things. Yeah, there's a lot of repairs that we're looking at. So this one I want to focus on the one thing right in the beginning. If you saw, when I asked Siri if you can help me, immediately she started listening to the motor and then said, oh, okay, fine, let's try this. I think it's this. So the one thing that can't be put on the internet with manuals is the sound, right? When you get a repairman, he walks into your living room, you've been trying for like 2 weeks to fix it, within 3 seconds it's like, yeah, I know what it is, because he heard it, right? You don't have to go to YouTube and listen to all these videos going, okay, this is the sound of a microwave LG, this is what it sounds good, okay, no, this is what it sounds bad. You don't know that, but if you do, a computer can do that. We have Shazam, we have this technology. So that plus conversational, a conversation with your AI, something like this, the average person could deal with. So that was this one, and we'll run quickly on to the next one. This is augmented road signs.
I think that the fire is more effective now because it's a personal
It's like begging at the end, just please. So this happened a couple days before I shot the film, when I tried to burn down California. No, this is actual wild. This is actually like a year or two ago with bushfires in California. So essentially this one, a couple years back, I was looking at the road signs and realizing, like, why am I seeing all this information that other people are seeing, right? If I want to go to, let's say, Jerusalem, I don't care if this north or south goes to Beersheba or Haifa. I want my own personal navigation. And that's what we have. We have that in GPSs, right? Google Maps, Apple Maps, but they're situated on the dashboard of the car. So to see that information, you have to look down. Now at highway speeds, I mean, that wasn't very fast, but at highway speeds, every second that you look away from what's in front of you, from the road, can be fatal. So something as simple as this, where and then this is another thing of augmented reality. It's not just putting screens or 3D puppies on the floor or dragons that fall down, dinosaurs. I mean, it's about actually using the infrastructure you've got around you. So if we've got road signs already out there, they're big, huge, they're forward to be able to read it from far distances. Let me just wipe away everything else that I don't need, other people's information, and let me get my navigation personalized. Something like this could really save a lot of lives. So that was the third one. And wrapping up, I think augmented reality is massively powerful. But if I could basically sum it into one word, what is augmented reality in one word? For me, that's context, contextual. We can talk every day about why we think this is cool, that is cool. For me, the power of augmented reality is in its context. That we're actually using the real world around us. It's one-to-one, it's what's happening now. We're finally taking the world that has lived on a 6-inch screen in our pockets, and we're finally bringing it out into the world contextually. So that's why I think it's going to be powerful, the minute that we actually can merge the two worlds, the real and the digital world together, it's going to be incredibly powerful. Any questions?
Are you going to be in data really?
Yeah, I might. We'll see. See if I'm in the country then.
Thank you for.
Just one last thing. That's my contact. That's my website. If you want to find over there, you can see all the videos and all my social links: Instagram, Facebook, wherever I post, Medium. Everything's over there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So for our last stop of today, Stops is a new startup coming out of cell phones that is going to change the travel industry. And give it up for Eitan. He's going to tell you all about it.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Omri, actually, and Microsoft. And Andrea.
And
who's in New York.
She's not here.
But she's in New York. And she's on YouTube. She's right. Yeah. So we can see you, hopefully, and see us. Good. We have 20 minutes, I know, and within that time we're also going to be showing you a demo of our app, which is now in beta and can be downloaded on Android and iOS. You just simply need to give register your email at our site, but you can download from either one of the platforms and get a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about. And so we'll get going. So my name's Eitan Chamberlain. I'm the founder of Stops and Stops.com. And I've been in the travel business for about 12 years now. I own my own travel company. And I've experienced the travel world from a lot of different directions. As a guide, I've actually personally guided thousands of people around Israel, Jordan, Egypt, Greece. I'm an explorer at heart. I've appeared on the Discovery Channel a few times as an archaeologist. So that's a little bit my background, and a background also deep in business. And we're going to get into that. I'll tell you a little bit more about my background, how our product's very applicable, we feel, to the travel world, but also to real estate and education. Because what Stops is an aggregator of geo-based content. We're also giving users easy tools to inject geo-based content and data in the world around them. And it becomes a very, very applicable thing, we think, for everyone. So, when travel, there are bus stops, train stops, car stops, you have stopovers. And we find that this is a good brand, not just for what we're going to do in travel, but every time we stop, we're engaging with content. Everything around us, and you just talked about last week, we talked about content into context. You're going to see screens labeled with that in just a minute. And so we say that in English, stop and smell the roses. Stop, think about, and take a moment to absorb the world around you. And this is really what augmented reality is, right? We're engaging with virtual objects which we're putting in, but what about the real objects and the data we can begin to extract out of that and those things? So we started actually with our product, started off with an idea, a very simple idea. If you can face tag, why can't you just tag anything in an object, in a photo? Why can't you tag any object in a photo down to the smallest pixel? Define it and give it its own geoposition. And so from a two-dimensional photograph, why can't you get to a three-dimensional virtual space? And if you create enough of these, and you begin to aggregate them from all kinds of sources like we're doing now, like showing you the closest Wikipedia article to you, the closest Google place to you, the closest Yelp review to you, and on, you're about to see what we're doing in terms of bringing content to you. We can take you on new journeys, and it's really a new way of travel. You could travel on any theme and any concept and down to any color or virtually any object or type of object in the world just because that's the experience you want to have. And we want to give you a little sample right now of how Jerry Seinfeld is going to be using stops very soon.
Next guest is a young comedian who's making his very first appearance on tonight's show. Would you welcome him, please?
Jerry Seinfeld! In the 70s, we were the new hot thing of stand-up comics doing this thing. I only had one joke that worked, which I'm going to do for you right now. So we moved out from the city to on Long Island. Long Island's not one of those places you can't get in it. You just stay on it. Would I have been funnier if I grew up in Peoria in a whorehouse raised by prostitutes? Absolutely. But this is what I had to work with. My parents, they didn't even know our names. They were ignorant. They were negligent. We grew up like wild dogs in the 60s. No helmets, no seatbelts, no restraints. Cookie Crisp. It's not like cookie. It is cookie. I was either eating 100% sugar or airborne. Okay, Jim, this one's going to be coming a little bit faster now. It's like my little Dave Clark moment. Mom, Dad, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm a funny person.
It was like high school without the school part. And we were the stars of the football team.
They cut a little hole for us so we can stick our head in and see what the hell is going on. Because you want your eye blinking and tearing when you're going backwards down the staircase holding a wall unit.
So what did Jerry just do? What is he doing as a new Netflix show that's going on? He's taking us back in time to where he lived. And it actually, if you actually watch the full movie, he spends about a minute at this street corner here. I think it's 57th Street and, what do we say? Madison Avenue in New York City. There's Jerry sitting here, and he's telling the story about that. That is the very place where he had an epiphany to become a comedian. And so that is an amazing experience here that he's sharing with the world now. Probably millions of people passed there on Madison Avenue over the many years, never knew that a guy like Jerry Seinfeld, at that very moment, at that place, had that experience. He took us into a window of his life. And so for Stops, that is a stop. That is a travel point. That is a place that people want to get to and want to find and rediscover. Next screen. Next screen. Next. Next screen. Good, we got it. And so we can inject a geoposition or what we call a pixel tag. We know there's other versions of what the word pixel tag is, but we call this a pixel tag so that you can virtually encounter that and begin to ignite content as you get there. Now just imagine for a moment, imagine if every Wikipedia article did have a geoposition. They're working pretty good at that. They don't allow you to put geoposition for people for some reason on Wikipedia, but to be able to encounter that or to be able to begin to pop or engage with that content as you go along. We call this a sort of karma. People want to go and visit this, and you're looking on popular sites in New York City now. You can jump on tours, and they're going to stop here. They're going to stop at the restaurant you hear in the Seinfeld episode. This is how we see the world and how the future travel. It's also a sort of karma. You may, as a comedian, feel something there, some kind of engage with that point in another way. And this is what we're experimenting with the Stops. We're really talking about a geo-based cloud. The ability to put a tag and put a geoposition on everything. So if I wanted to put a Word file there, or if I wanted to put a YouTube video that only me and one specific friend could see, like a geocache, that only we could recover that within our ecosystem and have content of our own that we share, not even just publicly. Let's go to the next screen. So we're talking about places when, now this is me guiding, this is me with a guide's badge on, and actually at Independence Hall here in Tel Aviv. And this is how typically guides are telling stories on the ground, using examples, pointing to newspaper articles, doing the best to create a factual experience and a world as people give. Now with augmented reality, we guides all around the world can begin injecting their own content, their own notes into spaces, and to begin to show the visitors with using mobile devices right now and with augmented reality devices later. Because as we're seeing with meshing and as we're seeing with everything, all augmented reality depends on our geopositions and micro positions within geopositions. This is what we're doing at Stops, and our goal is to become a new form of way of extracting content, more factual content. Imagine now wherever you're standing in the world with our application, you can begin to see the closest Wikipedia article to you, the closest business page from Google Places or Yelp. You can already with our app begin to feel that your business space is missing, something about your business space is missing in that presence. But we can also begin to inject more and more good quality content. So now we can begin to play how virtually we're going to see a timeline, or how are we going to virtually break down facts for you that go back to the ends of the universe. If we start with Jerusalem, thousands of years of history, how are we going to be able to tell that story? So that now if you're traveling in the States next time, you're going up the East Coast, you can type in Frank Lloyd Wright, or pick any type of theme, or even pick a year and a period of time, and now that geo-content's going to come to you from that specific period of time and that specific theme. Everybody get what I'm talking about here? All right, let's go into the next screen. Keep the time going. So some of you might be in marketing or branding here. That's kind of my background at the SEO, search engine optimization. I used to own a bookstore and learned a lot of databasing. I've been in archaeology, and I know a lot about content. That's my expertise and what I bring to the vision here of Stop. So if content is king, right? We've always said that in the world of advertising and branding. Then geo-based content is the emperor. Because now begin to think what you can do is with time and place on literally virtually every memory that's embedded in every photo that you have, or everything that you begin to create as you're moving from stop to stop. So Stop reigns in context for content. Wherever you're standing, we want to be showing and adding value of real good quality content to the world around you. It's not about how much can we bring. It's actually too much to bring. There's too many good APIs that we're already embedding in our system that's bringing us and filtering good content. It's now about the tools we can, let's go to the next slide, to filter out a lot of that world. And so why travel? Travel's this massive industry. It is a 1.2 billion international travelers a year now, guys. There's 280 million employees worldwide. It's an $8.3 trillion industry. So we're not really looking for new ways to make money on our app. We have a long list of ways in which we can make money, but we're trying to build a world that's responsible for the thing that's come to augmented reality and how content is distributed, and even the ethical considerations that need to be taken place when injecting geo-based content at places. But you get something new. The travel world is giving us, when you have 280 million travel professionals that really don't have their own form of LinkedIn, and that are dealing with international clients moving out of borders. And that's why our application is first and foremost a geo-based messenger. Think of WhatsApp on steroids that has embedded with it all the geo-based abilities to share your location, to change your group's location, to meet your guide because you got stuck in the store behind. We had to find solutions that served our dynamic customer that's moving from stop to stop, is being fed content from stop to stop, but now also being delivered products that are relevant that he's going to need anyways, or she's going to need anyways, as she goes from stop to stop anywhere in the world. And this, for example, is just one example on Masada. Who's been to Masada? A lot of you have been to Masada. You might have gone to the storerooms here in Masada on your way to the upper palace. Maybe you just walk by, they're just empty rooms. But did you know here, and I'm injecting for you a stop like I would tell a story there, that they found, archaeologists here back in the 50s, found date palm seeds from 2,000 years ago. They put them under a microscope, realized they're totally extinct from the planet, these date palm seeds. They cracked the DNA code of them, replanted them down at the Arva Institute, and they're now life-size trees. They believe if they can wed this to a proper female counterpart from the ancient world, that they will cure most heart diseases as we know them today. So facts and data don't just come from Google, guys, and Wikipedia, which is only 80% correct by its own admission, and comes up always on the top 5. Who's visited Wikipedia in the past month? Everybody? Past week? Maybe even today? How many would you hire a doctor that's only 80% right? That's fine. We're not going to be hard on Wikipedia. They give us great content. They feed us, right? It is a fabulous way of crowdsourcing information. But for AR, we can't have long lines of paragraphs, can we? We can't have too much information. We also need ways to prove the probabilities, because you have people on the ground who are local, who know the stories well, and they're also brushing up with others who know them, and they're finding out what the best probability of those facts are, and providing more evidence that isn't known on the public record. We believe we're going to be pulling out content that's never been understood or processed before or delivered to the regular person. And how are we doing on time?
We almost ran out.
Just go ahead. Go next. So here's how we're rolling out our message, guys. It's real simple to the public. Stop, pop, drop, shop, then go to the next stop. Go to the next slide. Stop, just open our app, discover something new around you. You're going to see some screenshots here in a minute. Pop, engage with the virtual content that exists, the places and objects around you from the best aggregated sources. So filter it, save it, vote, share it, socialize with it. But again, like a WhatsApp type of ecosystem, only start with yourself. We're first and foremost about you getting content, a lot of great content, but when you create content, it's first just for you. It's only for you. If you want to share it to your friends, that's great. If you want to share it up to the rest of the world, that's great. You control the privacy, and that's why we're GDPR compliant. Everybody hear about GDPR? Big thing to talk about in terms of augmented reality, but we're GDPR compliant from the very beginning. Maybe one of the first few companies to maybe could attest that. And I think we'll actually lead the way GDPR in the way in which we're harnessing the user data throughout this process. So next screen. Now we're giving you a way to drop. So you stop, pop, engage with the stuff, drop. Now think about it. I'm standing here, we're going to display for you. You can drop and inject a file. You can drop in just one button, check in. You can add a fact, add a memory, add a YouTube video. Just put a link, paste a link in our site, a YouTube video, and soon then you're going to be seeing the YouTube video floating right in the geospace by you. So very simple tools for creating geo-based content. Next slide. And shop, of course, I mean, if we're not going to go into the 18 ways we've already discovered that we believe we can monetize off this app, but we want to first and foremost be bringing content. Content will lead people to the product, we believe, not advertisements. We're doing things a little bit different for the customer. Next slide. And so in a nutshell, we're geo-based search, we're a geo-based messenger, we're geo-based gallery, we're geo-based everything. We want to put a geo-position in everything, but also give you the full reins to completely, to manage that. And now, back at the end of your life, or maybe halfway through your life, you're going to share your stops and your memories and your photos with your children. They're going to follow in the footsteps of them, or you're going to follow in the footsteps of your favorite actor, or follow how the specific movie and follow the movie locations. We think travel is changing, and it's a whole new way of engaging with content in the world around us. So let's see one more. We're going to skip that slide, and I want to show very quickly now, just 2 minutes if possible, 3 minutes. We have
I have 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
4 minutes.
Of the demo. Of the demo. 3.
So after that, we'll have to work off because Microsoft are going to pick at us.
Yes, and happy to answer any questions afterwards. Here's our team, guys, by the way, Yoel and Phil and Natan. We're a team of 18 now. And we're doing okay in Raisin. This is our...
So this is how our application works. So we're not using any kind of things like three-dimensional scanned ice cream, but you see the stops around you. It's a bunch of stops around you. Let's try to filter something. Let's try to filter. We are on a meetup, so let's try to filter meetups around. This is a meetups that are going to be here next week. So what we can do, we can try to search from a different location. So let's check, for example, we talked about Madison Avenue. What kind of meetups are going to take place on Madison Avenue next week? Of course, we cannot see that in augmented reality because we are in Tel Aviv, but you can see that it's a lot of things in the center of Manhattan, and everything we can check.
One point to mention, we're not only giving lat longs to everything, but altitudes. We're giving you the ability to throw it up in the air. We're giving you the ability to hide it or inject it in specific places or to talk about something in
I want to show you how many places we're going to see in New York. It's around 1,000 places. Wait, it's really slide higher. It's a lot of stuff.
So these are Yelp articles.
Yelp articles, it's Wikipedia articles, so you can travel and you can see Wikipedia articles. And today we talked about Jenny Seinfeld, so let's try to find that place from that trailer. Yeah.
There you go. Right, so that's one of the
So
tags.
this is a user-generated content. This is what we can see in New York right now. This is our messenger. This is a place where Jerry sat. And this one is our messenger, our messenger, the group where we can say hello to anyone who will be the member of that messenger.
Or share location.
Or share location. And if we come back to our current location, look here. We got a lot of things also around that we already saw from the camera. And we can see it on the map. For example, here we already made a messenger for all of us. For example, I can share link to our broadcasting on YouTube, link our meetup itself, and I shared also here a bunch of pixel text that we talked about here. This is a pitch that we trained before. So what you see around is different types of stuff. It might be Wikipedia, it might be a meetup, it might be Google Plays, anything. It might be user-generated content. So this is a sign somewhere in a cafe.
So please download the app. Again, in beta form, we're not tracking you at every corner. It's we're
We can
really
try
really
to make our user-generated our stuff right now with our faces.
So the app is already out in the App Store?
We're in an alpha,
Well,
what's called
it's a
alpha
beta
beta.
version. It's a beta version.
But it is
You
in
can
both apps.
download
So
it.
just type in stops and you should
Download it.
get it, or go to our beta site or stops.com and you'll get the links right
It's a
there.
historical thing. It's about meters. It's somewhere here. It's near. Yes.
Okay.
It's in the address. So
Thank
this is
you.
how everything works.
So thank you very much, Nathan. Thank you guys for staying. I know that it's not easy at this hour, and for the lecturers who shared their visions, and I think really cool, awesome companies today. Just about the meetup, our next meetup will probably be not so far away as the last one. Hopefully it will be alongside with the AWE, and we are talking about bringing some lecturers from abroad. And also we talked about the hackathon. It hasn't been cancelled, but postponed, and we have a really cool agenda for that. But once we have things rolling, we'll share more details. And thank you all for coming.